All right. Haven't really had that much time tonight, but I just looked at one comment here that I had on this video from last night, and Ron Walker here, he he talked about a whole bunch of good stuff here. If you come read it, but it just reminded me of Queen Elizabeth, and then he talked about the Khrushchev dying 30 years before September 11th, 2001, and then the 30 he's in Back to the Future, and then they go back to the future 30 years, and they go into the future 30 years. So interesting. But anyway, it made me think to look up Queen Elizabeth again, and so I talked about it in a video a couple days ago. I just noticed this that she actually started her reign on the 37th day of the year in 1952, and 52 has been huge this year. Um, it goes along with 239 and the 923. 239 is actually the 52nd prime number. 1952 is 88 plus 88 years from 1776. There's just tons of stuff with it. But so interesting that she becomes queen or whatever, or her reign starts then. But so I checked out her birthday here. So April 21st, 1926. So this is her birthday, 4/21/1926, and I just went to September 11th, 2001, and it comes up as 75 years, 4 months, 21 days. So I found that kind of interesting. So she was 75 years old, 4 months, 21 days when 9/11 happened, but she was born on 4/21. So it's kind of interesting that it's 75 years, 4 months, 21 days, 4/21. But what's even more interesting is that so her reign started on February 6th, 1952, and if you go to September 11th, 2001, it's actually was 49th year, 7th month, and 5th day of her reign. So there's the 49. But what's interesting too here is it's 7 months and 5 days, and she was 75 when 9/11 happened. So 49 and then 75 years old, and then if you go from her birthday to it's 75 years, 4 months, and 21 days, and she was born on 4/21. Just kind of interesting. And then I had my little notification up here, and I didn't respond back yet, but I just read a comment. If I can get to it here. They said the Golden Gate in Jewish gematria is 239, and the word pilot. So I went and checked that out, 239, and I for sure it does. I just always try to double check. But when I thought of this, or when I read that, it made me think to type in something else on here to figure out what it might mean. So I typed in September 23rd, 2015. So that's a big day. Everyone's been talking about it. It goes along with the 239 because that's how they write the calendar in like England and whatnot, 23-9. So September 23rd, 2015. And it actually adds up to 494 in simple gematria, which is the mirror of 49. It's 49 and its mirror 94. That's unbelievable. So then I just kind of looked at some other things about her, like her mother. Her mother is Elizabeth Bowes Lyon, and she was born the same day as Barack Obama, August 4th, 84. She died in 2002, so the 22. But what's kind of interesting is, so she died on March 30th, but they didn't bury her until 4/9/2002. But so okay, whatever, that's pretty close to that day. But then I was reading through a little bit more, and you find out Queen Elizabeth II only had one sibling, and it was Princess Margaret. And she died in 2002 as well, on February 9th. But I get it. Her and her mom were buried on the same day. Huh. Okay. Oh wow, this is crazy. So wow, I didn't even know this until right now. So she died on February 9th, 2002. Why in the world would they wait to bury her until April 9th? That's what I wondered earlier because I looked her up first. But anyway, so why? Why would they wait until 4/9 to bury her? This is Queen Elizabeth's sister. She died 2 months before they buried her. And then Queen Elizabeth's mom, and they had the same mom, Elizabeth Bowes Lyon. She died on March 30th, 2002, and then was buried the same day. But look at this, March 30th, and then to February 9th, that's 49 days. And just to prove it here, so her sister died 2/9/2002, and her mom died 3/30/2002. It's 49 days, and I didn't even realize this even before. 49 days is 1 month, 21 days, so 121. 49 adds up to Revelation, and 121 also adds up to Revelation, and then 67 is another number. That is crazy. Tell me that wasn't planned. There is no way that was not planned. Why would they wait for that many days before they buried her sister, and then her and her mom both get buried on the same day, and they died 49 days apart? Tell me that's fake. Come on, that's ridiculous. So then I checked out their dad. He was the king before Queen Elizabeth then, and he died. So she started on February 6, 1952. He actually didn't die, though, until February 15th, 1952. You know, the last day of Lupercalia. And there's they have to do it by the numbers or something, because, I mean, I don't know why they did it this way, but this guy wasn't even supposed to be the king. His brother was. But his brother decided to marry this lady right here, Wallis Simpson, and since he decided to do that, they advised him that for political and religious reasons, he could not marry a divorced woman and remain king. She was divorced 2 times, I think it was, and then he decided he basically turned down to be the king, and then ended up marrying this lady. And like I said, this doesn't have to mean that much. I find it kind of interesting, though. So she was married to 3 people then, including the king, or the guy who was supposed to be king. But look at this. They're all E's. Earl Winfield, who she divorced in 1927, which is 88 years ago. Ernest, so Earl Ernest, who she divorced in 1937. 37 just in general. That's a huge number with 88s and whatnot. And then Prince Edward. I mean, Earl Ernest Edward. That's just kind of strange, isn't it? And she died on the 114th day of the year in 1986. So, once again, we've talked about 114, November 4th, Egyptian Valentines, whatever, 44, Obama. But also it's 424, so the mirror, 4224. And then this is the guy who was supposed to be king, her husband. Interesting that he was the 8th. Also, weird that he died at age 77. And even weirder is exactly 43 years ago to the day. May 28th. And he was born in 1894, the mirror of 49. And actually, I guess he was king, but he was only king from January 20th, 1936 until December 11th of the same year. So he was only king for 326 days. I guess I must have missed that somewhere. I thought it said that he just never became king, but he actually did, but only for 326 days. Even weirder, I've been talking about the Jubilees being 49 years, and then sometimes it's 50, depending on the source or whatever. But and this would be a Jubilee year, but the Catholic Church is different and whatnot. But weirder, so the Queen's Golden Jubilee, so that means that's her celebration of her 50 years of being the Queen, was on February 6, 1952. That was 3 days before her sister died. And her mom also died at the age of 101. And 101 is the 26th prime number. And the Queen Elizabeth II was born in 1926. Doesn't have to mean much, but kind of interesting. And I just thought of one more thing. Oh my God, this craziness. April 21st. They write it backwards, not like here in America. It's 21/4/214 Valentine's Day. Wow, that's all I could say. 21/4/214. That's Valentine's Day, 214. It's also the 111th day of the year. And September 11th is the mirror date with 111 days left. So then, I guess, let's see here. Princess Diana dying was a pretty big deal with her. So let's click on Princess Diana. And first thing I noticed with her is that if she was still alive, she would be 54 years old this year. Or she will be, if she was still alive, she would turn 54 on July 1st of this year. Also, July 1st, that's it's either 7-1 or 1-7. 1917 was a Jubilee year. 71 was the age that Queen Elizabeth's only sibling died at. She was 71 years old. Another thing, so then if you do this the backwards way, it would be, it's 8/31 or 3/18. The 318th day of the year is November 14th. So, 318th day of the year. That's the 1114/444. She died exactly 4 years and 11 days before September 11th, 2001. 4/11/44. She was married to this guy, Charles, Prince of Wales. Look when he was born. November 14th, 1948. I mean, literally, just that alone. Married to the guy who was born on November 14th. And if you do the day that she died backwards, or not really backwards, but that's how they do it, 3/18. It's November 14th is the 318th day. Come on. Also, so born on 1/7 or 7/1, but 1/7. And that means that she died 17 years ago and was also born on 1/7. August 31st is also a day where there is 122 days left until the end of the year. And we've talked about 122 with San Francisco, just all kinds of things with it. Pope Francis, and even interesting that her real name is Diana Francis. So she died in a car accident. But anyway, the car was a 1994 Mercedes-Benz S280. So the mirror of 49. And when you click on this car here, it takes you to here, and it says that series of car was actually unveiled and released on November 16th, 1990, which November 16th is 45 days until the end of the year. That's Evil, the backwards of love. Just thought some of these numbers were kind of interesting. The time sheet or whatever. Moved from the car at 1, but moved to the ambulance at 1:18 a.m., 11:08. Left the scene at 1:41 a.m. Okay, 141. 141st prime number is 811, the mirror of 118. And then arrived at the hospital at 2:06. Take out the 0, that's 26. The Elizabeth II was born in 1926. She actually died on this bridge or tunnel or whatever it is. And it's actually named after a battle during the Crimean War that was in 1854 that I just talked about on, I think, the last video. I mean, check out the coordinates, 48 and 48. And her husband was born in 1948. Even on the east, it says 218. I mean, that's the 49th day of the year. So then the Queen also had so far 12 prime ministers during her reign. And the 49th prime minister overall is Margaret Thatcher. And she's also the 8th prime minister during Queen Elizabeth II's reign. But she started on 5-4. I talked about that in a previous video. Not sure if it's talked about it, though. The guy before her was, he started on April 5th, 45, and ended on 5-4, 54. Thought that was pretty interesting. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about Margaret Thatcher here. First off, so she started May 4th, 1979. So that means on September 11th, 2001, she was in her 22nd year. 79 is the 22nd prime number. She was even born on October 13th, 1925. October 13th, there are 79 days left until the end of the year. And the Queen's sister, whose name is Margaret, that died in 2002, like I said, she was 22 years old when Queen Elizabeth took the reign. And I guess another interesting thing I wanted to point out was the Queen then, back to the Queen. She was born on 4/21/1926. And if you go, and I said that was, she was 75 years old when 9/11 happened. Or 75 years old, 4 months, 21 days. She was born on 4/21. Then she started her reign in 1952, which was 49 years, 7 months, and 5 days away from September 11th. But also, her birthday to 1975 on 9/11 is 49 years, 4 months, 21 days. So in 1975, she was 49 years old. And hopefully that makes sense, I guess. It's just the mirror. And I believe the last thing I found here was that, so this was during her Queen Elizabeth's dad's reign, was the Republic of Ireland was formed. And it says it was number 22 of 1948. So kind of interesting that goes back with her son was born that year, also Princess Diana and whatnot. But interesting, number 22. But it actually didn't take. So the act was signed into law on 21/12/1948. 12/21. We've talked about that tons of times. But it didn't come into force until April 18th, 1949. And it was, I guess, on Easter Monday, the 33rd anniversary of the beginning of the Easter Rising. And of course, Easter Rising started on Easter Monday, April 24th, 1916, April 24th, 114th day of the year. Actually, 1916, I believe, was a leap year, so it'd be 115th. Still significant, 11/5. That's, talked about that day tons of times as well. It even says that King George sent the following message to the President of Ireland, Sean T. O'Kelly. Well, this guy died what will be 49 years ago in November of this year. And he died at age 84, so talked about them numbers, whatever. I mean, he took office in 1945, and I guess went until 1959. And this guy was the first president of Ireland, and he died in 1949. Born on January 17th, 11/7. So just a couple more things here. So Ireland, actually, the big part of it or whatever belongs to Ireland, but the UK still owns Northern Ireland, or they're still with the UK, I guess. But just read right here, the population of Ireland is 6.4 million. Just under 4.6 million live in the Republic of Ireland, and just over 1.8 live in Northern Ireland. The mere 6.4 million in Ireland, and the mere 4.6 live in the Republic of Ireland. I was just talking about the 84, and look, it has 84 whatever kilometers squared for the area. And then let's see here. Northern Ireland, the largest settlement is Belfast. It's on 54 degrees north. That's love. It was granted city status in 1888. It says the area is 44.4 square miles, which is 115 kilometers squared. I mean, come on. That's ridiculous. I didn't know that was a conversion. So every time you see 444, it's also 11.5, I guess. And then Dublin is the capital and largest city of Ireland, the not northern, the other part. But I mean, just ridiculous stuff. Look at the area. It says city 114, so 440, 44.4 O's square mile. So pretty much the same thing. And then so 114, 11.4, and then 318 kilometers squared. 318, I talked about how that was November 14th was the 318th day. Even says it became the capital in 1922. Wow, just whatever. I'm gonna leave it at that. Getting pretty tired here. Just kind of researching whatever. Found a lot of cool stuff, I think. So figured I'd post it. And yeah, I gotta go to bed. Gotta work in like 3 hours or 4 hours. But have a great night.